Hello, Pia. What is going on? George is in the building. And the missus. Hello, hello. Good evening, DVE, Calvin, and the rest of the crew. Can you hear me? Yes, Mia. What is happening? Hopefully David comes in shortly. I am a minute early, Laura. Hello, Chris. Hello, Alex. What is going on? It is the big showdown with the vegan police chief commander. I do believe he's still head of the disciples. Quality. First time using this on the live, so hopefully it's all good. Got the next scarf, man. He's freezing. He did dodge me, man. He dodged me for ages. He was very hostile after the comment row. He was quite hostile towards me for no reason. And then as the weeks went on, he kind of loosened up, and now he's being nice the last few days. So hopefully he comes. I'm guessing that this chat will just be about how people should be focusing on the use and exploitation of animals instead of the violence and the cruelty and the evil and the suffering and the harm and the pain. Cliff is in the building. We've got PJ, we've got Martin, and we have got... Hello, Jake. What is happening? Kimmy Cat. Oh, my God, the whole crew. It is the whole squad. Big up Finland. The popcorn is at the ready. I hope it's salted, Alex. I ain't got time for sweet popcorn. Yeah, so I don't usually want to get involved with like infighting and stuff like that, but this is different, man, because this is borderline bullying. People have had it for years now off this crew. Personally, I won't be affected by it. If other people weren't attacked and on the receiving end of this, I probably would swerve it all day. But I suppose I speak on behalf of everyone who wants to hear this drivel. 702, David. Sabby Coops, you are a legend. Let's have a look. Oh, he's having trouble getting in. Any advice on what to do? Yeah, this isn't just like a disagreement, man. It's not like I disagree with loads of people, and I'm sure loads of people disagree with me. But this is just a joke, man. This is like it's pissing me off, and it pissed me off before I was involved. You know what I mean, it was annoying to see other people get attacked. What is interesting is it's going to be a three-way war. We've got the vegan police, the vegans, and the trolls. So it's going to be absolute chaos. Leslie Cross. So this is sponsored by Leslie, man. The chat is sponsored by Leslie. I don't know what to do because he can't come in. What do I do? Copy link. Right, I've sent him the link and he can't come in. The only time this has happened before was when someone was using a laptop and they needed to use the phone. So maybe that's the problem. I'll be devastated if all you people are here and this doesn't work. So please forgive me if that does happen. We'll do our best. Yeah, he's on the laptop. That's why it ain't working. I've never seen so many superstars in the chat. Many apologies, people. I know it's Sunday night and you probably want to chill, but Miss Teaspoon in the building. What is going on? Yes, Scott. Hello, hello, hi. Right, he's coming. He was on the laptop, and the reason I did the phone is because he was moaning about his mic. So, yes, Chris, let's get you in, man. Let's get you in. Add as mod, standard. Add as mod. Right, hang on, Chris. Hang on, mate. Add as mod. Managing moderator. You've got that look of a manager, Chris. So therefore, you are the managing mod. Right, it should work now. Hello, Matthew Kittle. What is happening? Good to see you all. Lamberetta Barnes, hello. 46 in the waiting room, man. Come on, David. We're nearly there. Thank you to everyone who provided a short paragraph about yourselves and why you turned. Funnily enough, they all aligned with each other. That is that most people make the switch and wake up from seeing absolute violence, obviously. Come on, David. He said he's got a crappy microphone, but I've said I'll promise to be quiet. Now, David calls me a welfarist, but he also said he hasn't watched my videos. So my first question to David will be, how do you know I'm a welfarist? Here we go, he's in. Love it, George, man. Love it. Hello, Jade. Didn't see you there. Hello, Lee. Oh, my God, Ella. Here we go. Hello, David. Can you hear me?
Hey, what's up? Yeah, I can hear you.
Quality.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. I might have to apologise, mate. I didn't know that you wasn't on your phone. Thank you for turning up.
Cool, thank you.
Also, David, thank you for being nice, man. You've got, as the weeks have gone on, you've got nicer. It started off a little bit hostile at the start, so I do appreciate the nice energy coming from yourself. Yep.
Yeah, I just want to be I just want this to be informative.
Yeah,
I don't
man.
want this to be yelling over each other, so
Of course,
that
man.
is
I'm
kind of difficult to
yeah, man.
put this topic.
Despite the aggro, despite my nonsense, I do actually want a proper chat. Do you know what I mean? I'm not here to mess around. But yeah, man.
Cool.
David, please introduce yourself. Was it Mexico or Colombia?
Colombia.
Okay, you were joking about the Mexican, the angry Mexican. I called you. Yeah, David, man. Please introduce yourself. What is going on?
Yeah, I've been a vegan for a few years now, and a plant-based utilitarian at first, and that's why I'm trying to inform people that what I thought was veganism was not veganism. And yeah, maybe like 15, 17 years ago. I have no recollection, but I went plant based around that time. And I've been in vegan circles or so called vegan circles for uh, maybe that time, or maybe even more, or no, around that time, I think, because I was vegetarian for a while. Um, yeah, so I have seen a lot of problems with this so-called movement, and that's what I want to talk about today.
Mm-hmm. Okay, mate. Mate, thanks. Yeah. One sec. Sorry. You said I was doing this for clout. You said I was getting you on for clout. So hopefully after this, I can get my Rolls Royce and my Rolex. Once it's all done, mate, you've really done me a favour. But yeah, man. So yeah,
I-
tell us about the problems, man. I've
yeah,
been called a welfarist. I've been called a moron. I've been called an anti-vegan by yourself. I'm guessing this is because of the problems that you believe are problems. So yeah, just crack on, man, and tell us what the problem is. Because I know that you've been onto people for a few years, haven't you? 2 years you've been talking to people on this subject. With myself, it's only lately, so I know that you've been trying to get this message out for a little while, especially to people like Cliff, George, I believe. What is the problem, man?
uh, yeah. Well, you told me that I should watch the talk you had with a lady, with a farmer
Yeah,
from Wales, I think. And the whole talk is about cruelty. And you're
correct.
trying to convince her, you're trying to get her to accept that whatever it is that she does is cruelty. And she says, no, that is not cruelty. And and then you talk about bullfighting, and she says, well, that's not the UK. And then it's a mess. It's nobody after that conversation knows what veganism is, because the whole talk is about welfarism.
Correct.
You're trying to convince her that the conditions in which she exploits animals are bad, and she says no, those are not the conditions here in this country. And you say, yeah, look at these videos, and she says no, that is not here. And that's the whole talk, and it's useless,
No, no,
because
David.
that is
So
not the point.
let me explain.
What is the
So
point?
the other day in the gym, I spoke to someone who said he was vegan and he then started looking into seasonal patterns and patterns of eating. This person, I said to him, "Do you know what veganism means?" And he said no. And I told him the principles of veganism. I said, "Look, it's nothing to do with food, blah blah blah." That was the right moment to explain to someone what veganism is. When I'm speaking to a farmer who is in denial, I'm not there to change the farmer's mind. I'm not there to expect a farmer of 50 years to change her mind. The point of these talks is to make her look stupid, which worked, so that the viewer, using social bias, looks at it and goes, actually, she's talking absolute rubbish. I probably are going to side with the lad who is just talking sense. So I'm not there to explain to her the definition of veganism. I'm there to create content to get the viewer to understand the bollocks that these people talk.
Yeah. So the bollocks is about cruelty.
The bollocks is about the hypocrisy and the many contradictions that these people give when talking about animal exploitation and cruelty.
Yeah, but which is what the public, the non-vegan public, already thinks. Oh no, no, that's not cruelty. That doesn't happen in this country. We have regulations that's illegal. Blah blah blah. So what is the point? That is not a vegan stance.
It might not be a vegan stance at that specific moment and in that scenario, but what you've got to understand is um, not many people at all, if any, I've never met anyone who is actually going to turn around, listen to the actual definition of veganism, and listen to you people talk about it, and then turn around and go, "Yeah, actually, I'm gonna give it a try." Instead,
That's
it's proven that showing cows getting their heads smashed in and seeing calves getting stolen from their mothers and seeing dogs boiled alive and things like that, it is proven that this leads people to veganism. That's why most people online, such as myself and everyone that you've spoke to, uses cruelty, violence, harm, suffering as a tactic to get people to emotionally respond to it.
No, what you're doing is misinforming about the vegan stance, because that's why there are so-called vegan celebrities on horses and saying, "Well, I'm a vegan," and they are on horses. They are
What's
on
because of that?
camels. They are riding camels because people like you have a nickname like plant geezer, or carnism debunked, you know and all this vegetarian crap.
What,
And
like your
that's
mate
what
straight veg? Is that like your mate straight veg?
yeah, that might be a mistake he made
Why is
when
it a mistake?
he
What
I think it is. I think it is. I haven't talked to him about it, but
he's going to be
I'm
arrested.
sure.
Hey, Sergey is
Sure
next to be arrested. I want to
I'm
see him
sure
arrested. I want to see the vegan police arrest one of their own. That's what we need. So I've
that's ridiculous. But why do you think that you can call people who defend the vegan stance the police? So that's so that's so mm, um, dishonest. Or uh, would you call uh, a person against racism who defends the real stance, not the reverse racism crap, but the real stance, so that their movement has some credibility?
okay,
And
okay.
would you call them the anti-racist police? Would you dare doing that?
I would if they were policing other people who were trying to stop racism. Yeah. So for instance, you've got
No, no,
let's
no,
just
no.
use the black
That is
white
not
thing because
what you're doing.
the
That
black
is not.
white
That is
thing
not.
really stands
You're
out.
trying
So
to, you're
let,
trying to get people to eat plants. That is it. That is not.
if
That, vegetarianism is not veganism.
if there was a racial incident or a big if there was mass racism, and there is in parts of the world, if there was mass racism, um, would you stand there and start saying to people, we need to stop being racist to black people, or would you show them footage of black people getting smashed in the head and having having the kids took away from them and show them nasty things and emotionally triggering things, or would you just stand there and start talking about the definition of racism?
But the problem is not that you show it. The problem is your fucking speech. Your fucking speech is, do you see this cruelty? That is animal cruelty, blah, blah, blah. It, it doesn't matter for the vegan stance whether exploitation is done with or without cruelty. It is rejected. And exploitation, in the talk that you had with that lady, she asks, "What is exploitation?" And you go to the fucking dictionary and look for the definition of exploitation in the dictionary, which is not the definition that the founders of the movement left for everyone not to deviate into the unfair treatment of animals, which is cruelty. So she gave you the fucking opportunity to explain what veganism was, and you misuse it. You
I
just
don't, David. I don't care.
went
That
with the
I
fucking.
know what you're going to say. I know it all, but I just don't care because all I care about is outcomes. I don't care of the writing on the paper, the definition. I don't care about the
Yeah, you
philosophical
don't care
meaning. I
about the
don't,
movement that you pretend to represent.
do you
That
know
is the
why I
problem.
don't care?
That is the problem.
This is why I don't care. You ready? Today I asked 20 people, not just vegans, like people who are actually active, people who are actually doing stuff every
Ad
day, at
populum.
war every day, right? And let me just skim through a couple of things that they said. I asked them why they're vegan. Yeah, just try and pick
Ad
up on a
populum.
pattern, please.
So the
Just
ad populum fallacy. You're going to try to pull an ad populum fallacy with me here.
It's just proof that what you're saying is wrong. You're saying that we shouldn't be focusing on cruelty and
No, not popular is not proof of
so
anything.
you know what I'm going to say.
Many people
I'm
are
gonna
wrong.
read out, or I was going to read
Most
out
people are not
people's
vegan. They are
stories
wrong.
as to why they've turned vegan, and not one of them, not one single person has mentioned anything to do with use at the start.
Are they
And the reason
vegan or
being is
are
because
they
talking about
utilitarian?
exploitation and talking about the use does not trigger any emotions. People change due to their emotions, they're feeling, not by
Are
what
they
they
vegan
hear,
or are they
not by what they're
utilitarian?
told, not about factual information, not about philosophical definitions, nothing like that, nothing about Leslie
Yeah,
Cross. They
go,
change and they head into veganism. They go down the path of veganism from simply seeing horrible, evil footage, slaughter out footage, sexual violation, cruelty, abuse, all these nasty things, factually.
no, I told you, the problem is not that you show the footage. The footage is the reality. The problem is your speech. Your speech is a utilitarian speech about suffering. And when there is no suffering, that's why if you go to ask Lewis Hamilton what veganism is, he thinks it's a fucking plant-based diet because you.
That's not my fault. That's it's not my fault that Lewis Hamilton rides a donkey. Do you know what I mean? What about all the people who
Yeah.
don't ride donkeys?
Where do you think where do you think Lewis Hamilton gets the idea that veganism is a plant-based diet
I
from
don't
the
know.
carnism? From the
He
carnism
definitely hasn't watched my
account,
video talking to a Welsh farmer.
people talking about carnism and people talking about eating dogs and all that shit. So he thinks, well, I don't eat either dogs or any other animal, so I'm a vegan. And then he is on a camel posting the pictures on Instagram,
Yeah,
and you wonder how
but
come people have this idea that veganism is a vegetarian diet.
Uh,
Well,
yeah, but
all the talk about
they
carnism,
haven't got that far yet.
carne,
You can't expect people just to get it.
and
You can't expect people,
plant
everyone just to
based.
get it. Not everyone
Well,
is going to get it, are they? It's quite obvious
but
that
why do
it's
you
quite
think
that.
that people are so dumb that they cannot understand that animals are not things to use?
Let me
That
give you an example.
why
Let,
why
let,
is it so difficult to understand?
but yeah, but you've just named Lewis Hamilton who rides a donkey or whatever. But what about the
Yeah, but
thousands and
nobody
thousands
has
of other
told
people who
me.
don't ride donkeys? You can't just pick one
Nobody has
person and go,
told me.
oh, they. You can't just
No,
pick one person and go, oh, they think it's a diet when thousands of others don't. Do you know what I mean? So how come the 20 people I asked today, and how come the thousands of people I've spoke to in the last 6 years
a popular
have
is
all
that's
said the same thing? How come every single person I could speak to on my whole list, yeah, would say the same
because
thing
they
about
are
seeing exploitation and
understanding
cruelty and seeing the suffering? How come they don't
because
ride
they are.
donkeys? They don't ride donkeys.
Why do you think that Joaquin Phoenix? Joaquin Phoenix, he says that he has been vegan since he was 3 years old. What do you think that he means by that? He means that he has eaten plants since he was 3 years old. That is what he. That is the whole point of his veganism, and
Yeah,
that's why when he has to shoot a movie and they ask him to ride a horse, he says, "Well, how many millions are how many millions are we talking about?" And I'll ride the horse. Yeah, no problem.
well, I don't ride a horse, and no one else rides horses. So why don't you just talk to him or
I'm not
talk to the
saying that
people who
you
don't
are
get it, rather
riding a
than attack
horse. I'm
people?
saying that you are misinforming people like Joaquin Phoenix
So
because all you talk about is food, and
no.
and you
It's not all. No.
and you're
It's just the most
and
obvious
you're
topic.
name,
It's like 95% of exploited animals on Earth are through animal ag. So why would that not be the main topic that you talk about? Why would that not be the
where do
main
you
one?
get that? Where do you get that? Where do you get that numbers from? Phone already?
From what I've read and my research, I believe that 90 to 95%, please correct me if I'm wrong, let's just call it whatever you want to call it, the vast majority of animals are exploited through animal ag and food and cheese and dairy. So what I don't get why you expect people not to talk about food. That doesn't mean that I don't talk to people and talk about the use and exploitation in other industries and the mindset and the mentality. You just see one thing and go, "Oh, you're just talking about food." And also, how do you know that
I'm not saying
how
that
do you
you
know I
shouldn't
say
talk
these things
about
if you haven't
food.
watched my videos as well? Because you claim that I'm all these things, but you haven't watched my videos. So how can you
You're
have an opinion?
I watched like 10 videos of you. Like it's this, you always say the same things,
10
and it's
videos.
always the same.
I
And
say
you
the same
try to,
things.
yeah. And you
I
told
say
me, you told me it doesn't matter. I always go, but I always say the same thing. You told me that. I can put it, I can put the conversation i- on my stories if you want, but don't deny that you
in a
told
certain
me that.
in a
It
certain
doesn't matter
in a
who,
in a certain
it
situation,
doesn't
yeah, I
matter.
agree. I did say that. I did say that. But what I'm saying is, it all depends. So
Okay.
so for instance, I can actually go back to a video from April last year. So what, a year and a half ago, and I can pinpoint a moment in a video where I told someone we need to leave animals alone. We need to stop wearing them, stop using them, stop abusing them, stop eating them, stop chopping them, stop boiling them. All these different things, right? And this was before I even knew what the definition of veganism was. When I learned the definition, when the big Norwegian Nico is it asked me what the definition of veganism was 2 years ago or a year and a half ago, something like that, I didn't know. I didn't even know what the definition was, and it didn't change my behaviour. So just because
Yeah, that
you said the
because
wording
you're
has got to be correct. Some people don't need to see the wording. I didn't need to see the wording of it. It's quite obvious. You enter it through food, then you start looking at this, then you start looking at that, then all of a sudden it hits. And that is the case with 99% of people. I haven't heard anyone else that I've spoke to in the last 6 years say anything but that.
a problem. You think that because most people who identify as vegans have the wrong idea of veganism, then it's fine. That's the correct idea because most people who identify as vegans, they have these ideas about utility and utility laws and these, for example, this lifting welfarist guy. He says, "Well, I don't see the problem with second-hand hens giving you eggs if there's no suffering, that there's no loss of utility, blah blah blah." And that's the misinformation that you spread because you don't care about informing yourself about the cause that you
It,
pretend to represent.
it's not
And
difficult.
that's
You're
why
trying to sugarcoat
all
it. You're trying to
the,
sugarcoat just leaving animals alone. It's not a difficult concept to grasp. It's just that people are weak. So you're trying to blame what you do. You're getting someone who's weak, right? You're getting someone who's weak who can't stick to it because they're addicted to food. They're going back on their morals or supposed morals, and then you're blaming people for not giving out the right message. But how come all the others get it? How come some people get it in a heartbeat from watching something? How come some people get it after a year or two? Like
they don't get it.
you can't just blame a U-turn on people who are putting out content. Like, it's ridiculous.
No, the fact that they eat plants doesn't mean that they get it. For
Okay,
example,
okay, go on.
cosmic cosmic septic, the fucking moron. He thought that he was vegan for a few years, and the speech was the same speech that you all people like Cliff Grant and this carnism debunked George Guy and all these utilitarians who denied being utilitarian, by the way, use. It's the same speech. Oh yeah, but what about these crop deaths? Well, carnists participate in more deaths. Yeah, it's that is not the argument. The argument is not who causes more harm. The
It,
argument is who uses animals as if they were instruments, objects to use. That is the argument. Not,
yeah,
oh,
yeah.
well, maybe if and the hunter says, well, I shoot just one animal a year, and you vegans cause more suffering and death. And then the vegan is the utilitarian is like, oh, but that is not the normal thing, or maybe that is a lie or whatever. But the hunter has all the arguments in the world to shut you down,
No,
to
they can't. They can't. They're still bullies.
uh,
They're still bullying, and that's just the end of it. So anyway, Someone, when I sent you that picture last week from Dominic, thank you to Dominic Smith. Dominic Smith, £10. You've literally made so many people I know go vegan. The work you do is incredible. Keep it up. I'm not
Yeah,
here to shoot pipes up my own arse. I'm here to show you that people have said that they've turned vegan because of what I do. And I'm small time, man. You look at what Cliff's done, your best friend, legend, he gets like 50 messages per month. Like, how can you prove that these people are just plant-based utilitarians? How do you know these people are not die? In fact, some of
ask
these
them,
people have actually
ask them,
turned around and said they've actually become activists because of other people.
ask them what veganism means, and ask them what exploitation means. In fact, I'm going to ask you right now, what is exploitation?
Exploitation is dominating the vulnerable against their will, using them for your own good, etc., etc. But guess what? It doesn't matter
All
about the
right.
definition. Do you know
So,
what?
so,
Because
so
your whole
according to your definition, according to your definition, the bestiality that Peter Singer supports is not exploitation because it's not against their will. If they show some sort of consent, then it's okay. Bestiality is okay for Peter Singer. And that's why exploitation is not what you said. So you don't even know what exploitation means.
I don't care about the words. It doesn't matter about the
Yeah, I
words.
know.
So
That is the
all
problem.
so
That is
you know,
the whole
use and
problem.
exploitation, yeah, use and exploitation. It's philosophically correct. It's politically correct, but strategically, it's utterly useless. Do you know what I mean? You talk to anyone. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong by saying veganism is against use and exploitation. That's not what anyone's saying. We're just saying that strategically, it's utterly pointless. Let me give you an example. I'm in
No,
Bali. I'm in
no.
Bali 10 years ago.
You
Yeah,
think,
I'm in Bali. I'm not vegan. I'm not vegan. There's a horse. There's a horse and carriage. Anyone who's been to Gilly Tea knows about the horses and carriages. And I was riding on the horse, not thinking nothing of it. This horse can take me to my destination. Quality. If someone would have turned round and said, "That's wrong. Why? Oh, because you need to stop using the horse." You think I would have stopped using the horse? Like, where do you get this from? Do you know what I mean? I don't understand how you can think that focusing on use and exploitation is a good idea. It's
you
strategically
think,
dead.
yeah, you think that strategically, like hundreds of years ago, when humans were enslaved by other humans, well, they still are, but when it was legal in the United States, for example, to own other humans, do you think that those people would have said, well,
Cared about
uh,
words.
yeah, yeah, do you think that they care about someone saying, well, I think that's unfair? And they say, well, but I treat them well. I give them enough water and enough food, and I give them a place to sleep and a roof over their heads. And I don't think that's wrong. So the welfarist, um, uh, the welfarist movement in this, the anti-cruelty slavery movement would have said, well, but look, these people are getting hurt by their chains or whatever, you know. So it's but no, but these chains are not so heavy, blah blah blah. And all the talk is about not the fact that they are enslaving another individual, but about the conditions in which this slavery is happening, which is what you're doing.
It's called drawing attention to a very serious matter, and that's all it is.
I mean,
It's picking the most
I'm not
emotionally
saying
triggering symptom of the exploitative mindset of the human superiority complex. Is picking the most emotionally charged symptom of that, and this is why it works. This is why I've got 20 people today showing me, telling me about their story and what led them to veganism. It's as simple as that. I don't care about words. I don't care
you
about
really don't,
being
you really
politically
don't
correct.
understand
I
what
care
an
about
utopia
outcomes, and the evidence is there. I reckon I've spoke to over 1,000 vegans,
is.
more in 6 years. mate, I've spoke to,
Well,
I've honestly spoke to
I've
more vegans
spoken
than
to
most
many
people
more,
ever will, and
believe
every
me.
time I speak to them, I ask them why they're vegan, and they tell me the same story because they felt something, they saw something, they were emotionally triggered by what they saw. That led them to veganism. Fact. There's no denying
Yeah.
that.
So you don't understand what an unpopular policy is, right?
So none of it's true. None of it's true. Is that what you're saying?
No, they might not even understand what veganism means, like you. If you don't understand exploitation, you don't understand veganism, because veganism is the rejection to animal exploitation. If you don't understand the word exploitation, then you don't how can you claim that you're a vegan if you don't understand the meaning of the word?
20
I don't
euro,
care about words.
Martin. Martin,
I
thank you
eat
so
plants.
much. That
I don't
that
care
is
about
that is going to
words.
go to more activism. Maybe we can send a bit to David and he can do some, because I don't know what you do, mate. Like, I don't know what you do. You've been poking people who are actually doing things out there. Tell us what you do, man. Because people have, I know, because obviously I've heard, but people here will actually want to know, and they have mentioned it. What do you do? What do you do?
Yeah,
That's a good
I
point. Actually, no,
organize.
sorry. Well, sorry, David. We'll leave it there. Sorry. Can I just ask you, why did you go vegan? What made you go vegan?
What made me go vegan was the understanding that other individuals don't belong to humans, and that we don't have the right to own them, to use them as instruments for our purposes. That's what made me go vegan.
What triggered you?
What made me,
What was the first thing that you saw or heard?
I went vegetarian
Why?
after watching slaughterhouse footage.
Oh, that's a surprise. Tell us more.
Yeah. So I was a vegetarian. I'm a living proof
Yeah, but
that
you're a vegan
that is
now.
not.
You're a vegan now.
Yeah, but not because I was a vegetarian before. That is not the reason.
I think it's got a
That
big
is not
part to
the
play.
reason. Oh, so are you going to do now more vegetarian activism? So because
Yeah, if it works.
some
Yeah, if
people,
it works.
some people might in a few years, after they understand what you could have told them right now. So in a few years they will go vegan. Why don't you say the thing that you really need to say, which is, have
I,
you ever thought, have you ever questioned your relationship with other animals, not about cruelty, but
sometimes,
the
sometimes, yeah.
perception, no, the perception that you can own other sentient individuals and use them as instruments for your purposes. Have you ever thought about that? And
Yeah.
yeah, and most
You haven't seen all the videos though, so you can't say that I haven't said that. It depends on this. Like I said in the
show
gym the
me,
other day, I
show me,
explained the
show me where,
definition.
show me
There is a
where
time and
you have
place, and it
said that.
depends on the person. If
Show
everyone,
me
yeah, listen, if
after this
everyone,
conversation.
if
Show me.
everyone,
Show me.
hang on,
I'm
if
willing. I'm willing to retract what I just said. I'm willing to say, well, I'm acknowledging that. Uh, Sorry, what's your name?
Jake,
Ah, I'm willing to acknowledge that Jake has, in some conversation, in one of the 100 conversation that he has posted online, he said what he needed to say in every single conversation. I'm willing to admit that if you show me proof of that, but
mate,
I really don't.
I
I
don't
really
think
don't.
I don't think there's a topic or area or a word that I haven't covered in 6 years. Tell a lie. The last 2 years, activism. 2 years of activism. There is not a stone unturned. Like you can't just watch a couple of videos and then go, "Oh, you're a welfarist." Blah blah blah. It's a joke. Anyway, yeah, I will find it
Do
out.
you understand?
I will
Do
find you this,
you,
but I still don't care. Even if I found the proof that you're looking for, I still don't care because all I care about is people messaging me. I've divided the messages I get by the amount of time I've been doing it, and on average, I'm getting 2 messages a week. 2 messages a week telling me that videos have helped or the
that people
information
are
has
going
helped.
plant-based for a while. That people are going plant-based for a while,
How do you know they're
and
going plant
then
based? How
and
do you
then
know
they
they're going
can,
plant based?
because you can watch. Just go to Google, and Google I'm no longer vegan and see what those people talk about. It's about
Yeah,
harm, suffering,
because they're weak. Because they're weak.
utility. Maybe there's more utility if I'm just a hunter, which is the reason why John Venus. Do you remember John Venus, the poster boy for the utilitarian movement? Do you remember John Venus?
No,
No,
no.
you have no clue. You have no clue who John Venus was, right?
I don't pay attention
Because
to
you have
many things in life,
you
mate.
have
Who is
to
he? Well, you tell me.
you haven't been in this movement long enough to watch
I don't care.
the
I don't care if I've
failure,
been in this movement
the
a week
failure
or
of
10
your
years. I do not
speech.
care. I don't care.
Yeah, the failure of your speech is people like John Venus. John Venus was in every single vegan platform out there, and he was without his shirt on because the guy went to the gym to to lift some weights, like this lifting welfarist moron. And this John Venus guy was the poster boy for the movement. Everybody was like, "Oh, but look at this guy. He has very massive muscles." And blah, blah, blah. And they went to his house and they found eggs in his fridge. And he said, "Well, yeah, uh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I have been eating eggs for a while, blah, blah, blah." And then he went hunting. He said, "Well, yeah, no, I believe that hunting is better than veganism because I just shoot the animal doesn't suffer, and blah, blah, blah." And he was the face of the movement for a few years before you even came into this utilitarian scene that they call vegan movement.
It's irrelevant, man. I don't care about people who start to eat eggs. I don't
You
care.
don't care about
Look,
the information that you should know about.
hang on.
That
Okay,
is the
okay. So
problem.
so you're saying, okay, you're saying that people do U-turns like the Eggman. The Eggman does a U-turn because welfarists are not sending the correct message, right? So you're saying there is you're saying people are doing U-turns. People are going back on their morals or whatever because of bad. The message of welfare is not enough. If they turn back despite cows getting bolt gunned in the head, neck slash, baby stolen, if they go back on that, what makes you think that they wouldn't go back if they heard about use and exploitation? What makes you think that? If the most emotionally triggering thing
Listen,
doesn't work,
listen.
why do you think the use and exploitation one will?
Do you know who Sofia Esperanza is?
Who, sorry?
Sofia Esperanza.
I've heard of her.
Well, she was supposedly a vegan and activist. She used to do activism with this guy, the other welfarist, Step Alex. And she used to do activism with that guy. And she went to the streets, you know, shouted or whatever with signs about cruelty, blah, blah, blah. She had 3 million followers on Instagram. And uh, all of a sudden, she was no longer vegan. Oh, surprise, surprise. What was the argument for her to no longer be vegan? She said, "Well, I don't think using or eating backyard eggs is exploitation." So she didn't know what exploitation means. And if you watch the reaction to the video of her saying, "Well, I'm no longer vegan because of this," lifting welfare's logic says, "Well, yeah, maybe she's right about the eggs. If the hens don't suffer, well, what is the problem? And if those are second-hand hens, they maybe didn't purchase the hens from the exploiters, and blah blah blah. So they don't have an argument against backyard eggs, and they call themselves vegans, and they make money supposedly by promoting veganism, which is utterly crap because they have never promoted veganism and they mock
Yeah,
veganism.
but
They
just
say
because.
that, well, what is the problem if you use feather? What is the problem if a bird loses a feather and I use the feather? What is the problem? And they laugh about it. They mock veganism. because veganism is, what is the problem, Jake? Do you
You
see the
talk,
problem?
you're talking about eggs and feathers, while other people are promoting welfarism and literally changing the world. Like, I don't care about feathers and eggs. I don't care about
Can you,
people who are weak. I don't care about people who don't get exploitation. I care about the people that do. And let me ask you a question: who are the top three biggest welfarists? You can't say me on this one. That'll be good. Who's the top three biggest welfarists?
what?
Earthling Ed, top three.
Yeah.
Earthling Ed, number two.
Earthinet has made a lot of money with the welfarist approach.
I'm glad he has, because now we can promote more veganism. Who's number two and three? Cliff, you had beef with Cliff. Sorry, I said beef. You had problems with
What?
Cliff.
Dave Grant is not one of those uh, Well, he's not very influential in regards to Carb Strong or Tash Peterson. He's not.
Okay. Tash, Joey, Earthling Ed. Would imagine the animals could speak. Would the animals say thank you to Tash, Joey, and Ed, or do you think they are detrimental?
Carb Strong made a huge documentary. And he promoted the hell out of the
Just
documentary
answer it first. Wait,
about gas
answer the question
chambers.
first. Answer the
About
question.
gas chambers. Do you know what that means? It's about how they kill the animals.
Yes, and it draws a lot of attention, and people then change their mind and get led down the path of veganism. Simple.
Their mind change their mind about what? About animal use or about animal cruelty?
Both. I'd say both.
No,
Most
no,
people who change. So
no. Do you know that lifting welfare's logic was the guy that edited Carpstrong's videos? Why do you think that lifting welfare's logic doesn't oppose the second-hand hands, the use of hands for eggs? Why do you think that happens? He doesn't understand what veganism means.
who's that? Who doesn't
And
understand?
he was the guy editing Armstrong's videos. So all the welfarist, the welfarist logic behind all these.
Okay.
Well, let's
So
let's do a
so
documentary about how they kill pigs in Colombia. You know how they kill them here.
how do they kill him in
People
Colombia?
go, for example, on Christmas, there are people on the streets with a fucking screwdriver, putting the screwdriver in the throat of a
Well,
pig, and they
in
kill them in the
yeah,
streets,
and
and they
instead of
make
attacking activists, why don't you get footage of that and show people, and you'd turn more people vegan?
no,
You would.
that is not. No, that is
You
not.
would.
That
It's
is not
fact.
the
It's a
point.
fact. I've got evidence of hundreds and
That
hundreds
is
and
not the
hundreds.
point.
I could literally sit there for a whole day and gather evidence from hundreds of people who would say exactly the same as these 20 people here,
Yeah, they
and
would
they would
say that
say,
they are vegan and they are not vegan because they don't oppose animal exploitation if it's done without suffering, and they don't oppose the use of
"What?
feathers, for example.
What is it about the
They say,
most
well,
emotionally triggering
how
symptom of use that
the
you think is a
problem
bad idea to not focus on? What is
listen,
it about?
what
What is
is
it
the,
about cruelty and abuse and violence that you think we shouldn't focus on? Like when it blatantly changes people's minds and leads them to the
because
path
the
of
focus
veganism.
of veganism is not treatment, is not the treatment of animals. The
I
focus of
didn't say it
veganism
was.
is the use.
David, I'm not saying that you're wrong in your like philosophical definition. Whatever you're saying vegan is, I agree. I agree with you. But what I don't agree with is not
You don't have to
focusing on
be
the
a
most emotionally
great
triggering
philosopher to
symptom of
know
exploitation.
that you don't have to be a great philosopher to know that other sentient individuals are not things to own and
Yeah, I
and
agree.
make use
So
of.
stop sugarcoating it. Stop pretending it's like some deep thing, and just show people some cruelty. Get
Stop
them
saying
involved
that
in it. Let
stop
them
saying that
emotionally react to it, and then
is
they'll
great.
eventually get to the point
It is
of,
not.
oh, this is terrible.
It's a
All
very simple idea.
exploitation is terrible. All use is terrible. Just like the horse in Bali. I didn't think it was bad until I got rid of the meat thing and the dairy thing, and then that opened up my brain. Then I started looking at cosmetics and monkey slavery, and all these different things. And then I'm
Yeah.
like, oh,
No, the
horses.
cruelty.
Look at the
The
donkeys.
cruelty.
Look at the donkeys. But none of it would have happened if I didn't focus on food first, which is what people do. The suffering, the slaughterhouses, the violence, the blood, the slitting of the neck, the taking of the babies. These are all emotionally triggering things that lead people to veganism, and that is a fact. You've even said yourself you turn vegan or you turn vegetarian due to slaughterhouse footage. Where are you now? You're here now. That's all that matters.
Jake, why do you think that there are places that call themselves sanctuaries and sell wool? Why do you think that happens?
That's not my fault. That's not my problem. I don't focus on that. I focus on
Why,
changing minds.
why, I'm not saying whose fault is it, but why do you think that happens?
Because
Could you
I
answer
don't
that?
know. I don't know why people do stupid things and are not informed as they should be. Maybe they need to read more books. Maybe you need to tell them. Maybe you need to bring them up and tell them.
What is the problem with them doing that for you?
What is the problem?
Yeah,
And
if
animal exploitation is still going on within the sanctuary.
yeah, why is that exploitation? They have to shear the sheep because they have been selectively bred to produce a lot of wool, so they have to shear the sheep. Why is
Yeah.
the problem? Why is there a problem when they sell the wool?
Why is there a problem? Because it's still using animals. It's still the use of animals, isn't it? And that's what veganism is against. I'm not denying that.
All right. So, do you think that they believe that they are vegans, and that's a vegan sanctuary, and they are selling the wool?
Yeah,
But do you see the problem?
yeah, it's a problem, but I don't focus on the negatives. I focus on the positives. I focus on what I
Why
know
do you think?
works.
Why do
My
you
my
think that
experience, my
if you
experience
only
is
talk
this is
about
what works.
suffering,
This is what makes
if you
people
only talk,
triggered. This is what
if
makes
you
people sad. This is what makes people emotional. Have a look at that.
listen,
Now look into it more. Now look into it more, and then become vegan. It happens quite a lot. It's happened to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people I know. Uh, I just don't care about the words and stuff, man. I don't know how to say it. I just don't know. Maybe we can have a question off
don't you
someone.
think don't you think that those people have been misinformed by people like you? So,
What do you
uh,
mean?
because they think that veganism is a diet, a vegetarian diet against cruelty,
But
and that's it.
I don't say that veganism
No,
is a
they
diet.
don't.
I've said
They,
that there is a
they
vegan
say
diet.
that
I haven't said that
they
veganism is a diet.
say they say that selling wool is not against veganism. It's not opposed to veganism, because what you have told them, or people like you, is that, well, look at this cruelty in slaughterhouses and blah blah blah, and they say the same thing that the farmers said to you. Oh, that doesn't happen here. That doesn't happen in this sanctuary,
But then
which
they
is a
find out it
farm.
does.
Which
But
is
then
a farm, because if they are selling the wool, that's a farm, not a sanctuary.
right,
So
this was a comment from when I spoke to Ukrainian Sergey. Um, my friend, a non-vegan, was watching, and straight away he said, Um, as a non-vegan watching that, from what I can gather, if Peter do a post and it changes one person's mind, then it worked, didn't it? Not all the way, but they've changed their mind. It's grown massively over the last few years, and from an outsider looking in, nothing is going to work more than what you do and what you show, and opening people's eyes to the shitty farm inside of it all. Surely to God, diet is where every single vegan starts. No one is going to turn vegan because their lipstick was tested on a pig. Once you're in the door, yes, I agree. That was a message from a non-vegan, not even a welfarist, someone who was just looking from the outside, who was a neutral, and he's just told you what he thinks. He's told me
yeah, so
what he thinks of our chat. So tell.
you're taking advice from a non-vegan on how to make people vegan.
I'm not taking advice. He's the one who's agreeing with me, so he's taking my advice.
You're taking the words of a non-vegan, like, oh, maybe if they talk about cruelty, yeah, I can reject that, and you don't see the problem.
What
You
type
don't
of
see the
person are
problem.
we trying to? What type of person are we trying to persuade? Is it the non-vegan? Because that's a non-vegan telling you what he thinks would be more
The
likely to change his
intellectually
mind.
honest person, which is the intellectually honest person, is the person that starts any movement. Any movement starts with an intellectually honest person. So if you told them, a lot of people, if you told them what veganism really means, and they say, well, that makes sense. Yeah,
Like I did,
we shouldn't. We
like I did
shouldn't.
in the gym the other day when I explained it to the person in the right time in the right scenario. That time.
So if you explain to them, veganism is the rejection that the rejection to humans owning other sentient individuals as if they were tools to use. So if you tell them that, some intellectually honest people might start a vegan movement, which is not what has happened until now. What the welfarist movement is opposed. Why do you think that veganism um, started? Why do you think that the vegan society was created to oppose the welfarist, well, the vegetarian society?
Elaborate,
Why do
man.
you think that?
Elaborate. Carry on, man. Tell us.
I'm asking you. I'm asking you. Why do you think that the vegan society was created to and separated themselves? The first vegans
Be-
separated themselves from the vegetarian
to break
side.
away from whether it's right to treat them badly or not, the welfare thing, to break away and to end all exploitation. I'm not denying that. I will never deny what veganism is.
Of course, yeah. So why do you keep uh, 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 pushing the speech of the vegetarian society, which was, well, maybe if it's done in a non-cruel
Because
way, blah blah blah.
because I've told you
Because
at the start, talking to a Welsh farmer and asking her politely to not use and exploit her victims isn't going to work. But what is going to work is me talking to her for 3 hours, getting her to contradict herself multiple times so that the viewer, using social bias, is going to pick one and go, she's crazy, he's not so crazy, I'm probably going to side with him. I've already told you, man, it's a different game. Whereas in the gym, when someone said
no,
that they want to eat seasonally, I've explained to the person what veganism is. I've explained to them that it's literally just to stop using and exploiting animals, leave them alone. If different things get used at different times, it's quite simple, man. Like if I'm doing a video, I'm gonna squeeze every last drop out of this idiot who keeps contradicting herself. That is just obvious for the camera, for the viewer to watch it and make the assumption, make the decision. I don't know how hard it can be to understand that you haven't got to say the same things all the time. You haven't got to say the same
you say
boring line every single time. It clearly doesn't work. It clearly doesn't work. Like I said, philosophically correct,
doesn't work for
politically
what?
correct, but
Doesn't work
strategically
for what?
dead.
Doesn't work for what?
It doesn't work for
Listen,
changing minds.
there is a question here that says, well, why don't you do activism? What? That's another question that I would like to talk about, because
Uh,
what do you consider activism?
anything where the outcome is positive, anything where the person understands that what we're doing is absolutely horrendous, and not just repeating the
What if
same
it's not,
bullshit.
what if it's not horrendous?
It's
For
all fucking
example,
horrendous. Why have you?
for example, the sanctuary, the sanctuary, uh, shearing the sheep and selling the wool. That is not
Okay,
horrendous.
okay. You talk to people about the sheep and the wool. I'll talk to people about cows getting their heads smashed in, and we'll see who changes more minds.
How can you measure if a mind has been changed?
How can you
If they
measure
eat
whether
plant,
someone how can you
if they
measure
eat
someone
plant,
how can you
like
measure someone
cotton,
doing a U-turn, and whether it's down
if they
to
eat plant,
activists on the
and
street
then,
talking about bad welfare and cruelty and suffering? You can't measure that either. You just assume.
but what I can measure is if the vegan message is being spread. If the vegan stance is being really spread by the vegans, the people who call themselves vegans, what I can
Where,
see, for
where
example,
where did I get it from then? Where did I get my beliefs from? Because I didn't listen to none of you, and no one in this chat listened to any of you, and then decided to come vegan. So
listen,
where does it come from?
idiot George Martin, the idiot, is here saying, "Oh, David is going to teach us what activism
Hang on,
is.
sorry, David.
Well,
Hang on, hang on,
George
hang on.
Martin, George
Mixed
Martin
Master
was
Lee,
in
Mixed
AV.
Master Lee. How
Listen,
can I delete
listen.
comments? Sorry. How can I delete comments when my hands are here? And to delete comments, I'd have to be reading through. I'm listening to David speak,
Listen.
so I don't know what you're on about, man. David, carry on. I do apologise.
Okay. George Martin was in AV when I was an organizer, and I was part of the AV team, which most people don't know. And I was the one translating into Spanish the crappy welfarist speeches, master classes by Paul Bashir. And I told them, well, I don't agree with this, I don't agree with this. And they were stubborn as fuck. And well, I had a lot of trouble with Paul Bashir because I wasn't supporting a lot of things that they wanted to do, and I was always like, no, that is not the point. And well, now they talk about exploitation. If you watch the latest master class, and they defined it in a way that is not the way that the founders of the movement defined animal exploitation. But anyway, so George Martin is here pretending that he has not been part of that misinformation. For example, the utilitarian idea that AV, for example, Asal Alamdari made a video about the Impossible Burger promoting the fucking thing. They killed almost 200 rats to make the Impossible Burger, and well, uh, to certify the ingredient. And George Martin and I were against that. We debated Paul Bashir and Azal for a few days, telling them, no, that is not a good idea at all. But they had made their minds, like whenever Paul Bashir made up his mind about something, he's going to do it. He will ask you, oh, do you think this is a good idea? And you say, no, I don't think that's a good idea. And he does it anyway. But anyway, they promoted the hell out of the Impossible Burger, supposedly because it was going to save a lot of millions of cows, which didn't happen at all, which is the same thing that they do with the lab grown shit. So when George Martin promotes the lab grown shit, it's the same thing. It's a utilitarian calculation that, well, maybe we can exploit these thousands and thousands of animals, which has already happened. They have made experiments on animals to release that shit. And well, but maybe it's going to save a lot of animals in the future because they have a crystal ball. Utilitarians always have a crystal ball, and they know that in the future, yeah, people who don't care about animals are going to eat the lab-grown crap, which is not vegan at all. Veganism opposes the
I,
use of animals
nobody,
and the idea
nobody cares,
and
man.
the idea that animals are resources. Lab-grown flesh confirms the idea that animals are resources, but the problem is that they suffer when we kill them. So you see the
It,
problem? This idiot, carnism debunked,
I don't.
promotes something that is not veganism, and he pretends to be vegan. And
Right,
then he talks about Charlie Kirk, and then he pretends to care about Charlie Kirk, and he's going to dox people who celebrate the death of the other moron. So,
David, I
Carnism
think
debunked, you
you get
shut
very
up
caught
by
up on
now.
people's business. You're very bothered by other people. I don't know what you're going off on a tangent now, but Calvin's been trying to say something for ages, and he's paid $4.99 to say it. Thank you. That's going straight to the animals, Calvin. Does he think making videos bitching about how certain activists aren't really vegan is effective at turning animal exploiters into vegans? What
How
does
do
that
you
say?
how do you measure effectiveness?
How do you measure the effectiveness of not focusing on cruelty, violence,
What is
torture?
the Calvin guy? Calvin is from Vegan FTA, right?
Peter?
No, vegan FTA, the the intersectional, environmentalist organization, that they should not call themselves vegan FTA, because it's not for the animals. It's for human health. It's for the environment. It's for whatever intersectional crap. So vegan FTA is a crap. But Calvin is from that, if I'm not wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, Calvin.
He's got a question for you though. Do you think making videos bitching about other activists who aren't really vegan is effective at turning animal exploiters into vegans?
Yeah, I do think
You
so.
think you think okay. So when you compare that to the work of say Earthling Ed, welfarist, Joey, welfarist, Tash Peterson, welfarist, do you think that they've had more of an impact for animals? Would the animals say thank you, Tash, thank you, Earthling Ed, or do you think they'd say, look what you're doing to us? Yeah,
Yeah,
basically,
you
would
know,
the world be better? Would the world be a better place in your eyes if those three weren't in this space?
yes, yes.
Wow.
The
Can we get that again?
misinformation,
Can we,
listen, the misinformation has to stop. The misinformation is what gets people to eat plants for a while and then go on the massive platforms. 3 million followers on Instagram is a massive platform, and say, well, I'm no longer vegan. Or, like Miley Cyrus, who pretends for like 12 or 14 years, something like that. I even supported her at some point, and then, like, she's like, oh, I'm no longer vegan, but I do more than vegans, because I have like some animals in a farm, and you vegans don't do anything, and I have these animals who I care about, and I care for them, and I have these animals, and I do more than vegans, blah blah blah. Those people are the result of crappy activism. And all those ex plant-based people who say that they were vegan for a while are the same. So the misinformation has to stop. You listen to all those people praise at some point. Do you know the freestyle, this parkour guy from the UK? There was a guy from the UK who praised Gary Yurovsky, and he even made he edited a video with Gary Yurovsky's greatest moments, and the video went viral. And this guy who does parkour started to drink, to become a fruitarian, and then to drink his own piss, and then blah blah blah. All the speeches that he was exposed to were welfarist speeches. That if you vegetarian, vegetarian welfarism. So if you watch the whole Gary Yurovsky, the greatest speech that you will ever hear, or whatever.
the one that's changed millions of people, thousands of people.
Yeah, like that guy, and that guy had also millions of followers in his platforms. YouTube. He was one of the first YouTubers doing parkour, and a lot of people followed him, myself included, because I really enjoy watching people doing dangerous stuff in buildings and stuff like that. Well, anyway, so the platform, the huge, massive platform that he had, turned against animals as soon as he went. Uh, um, he stopped being plant based. And why did he stop being plant based? Well, because it's the same crap always. Because he thought it was a diet, and he experimented with a lot of diets, like, and he went on a water,
Some
uh,
people are like
on
that.
a
Some
water.
people are weak. Some people are weak. Some people will use it as an excuse. Some people will go, oh, this and that, and make excuses.
Jake,
There's nothing. There is no evidence. There is nothing that
Jake, my
says that
point, my point
people
is,
are. thinking
Jake,
it's a diet or using food as an excuse to get
Jake,
out of it because they're addicted to food.
Jake, my point is that he never understood that animals are not things to use for humans to use. He never understood that. He thought it
Yeah.
was a
So
diet against cruelty, and that's it. And they go plant based for a while, and then they go on their
yeah.
massive platforms to say,
Yeah.
"I'm no longer vegan." That is not in the in your utility
Do you know
calculation.
what? Do you know why they
That
go
is
back?
not that is
I
not
know
that
people
at all.
that have gone back. Do you
But
know why they
this
go back?
is
Because they value their convenience and they value their addictions and their taste pleasure more than they do their morals. And that is the only reason. It doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't matter what you could write a book on use and exploitation and give it to them, and they could read it 10 times, and they would still turn back because they value their taste pleasure and their addictions over their morals. And that's all it is. You can't point the
no,
finger and say, "Oh, it's your fault. It's your fault. It's
more
your fault."
their
We've already
morals
said
were
we
Welfarist morals. Their
you've
morals
already
were
admitted,
not
mate, that your
their
first step into
fans.
veganism was slaughterhouse footage. You've already
Their,
said that. Mine was too.
do
Everyone in
you
the chat, it
realize
was there. It was slaughterhouse footage that made them first look into it as well.
do,
I've said it before. Emotion creates understanding, and understanding creates abolitionism. You cannot jump straight to it. It's very rare that that happens.
do you
I
understand
can't keep
that
repeating, mate. It's
you
working. People are waking up,
Jake,
albeit very slowly. Yes, you're going to
Jake,
have people who turn back. You're going to have people who turn back because they're weak.
can I
You're going to have
talk?
people who turn straight away.
Can I
You're
talk?
going to have people who
Jake,
become activists. You're going to have people who just,
Jake,
avoid all
can
forms
I
of
talk?
exploitation and don't speak about it. There's all different kinds of people, and they all have different.
Do you
Sorry.
understand the
Yeah, I've actually
problem
got to go,
when
mate. I've actually got to
no?
go.
Do you understand the problem when none of those people who have massive platforms and said, "Well, I'm no longer vegan," understood veganism at all? Do you understand the problem?
It's a problem, but it's not. You can't just point the
That
finger at
is,
people and say,
that
"Oh,
is
it's
a
your fault
huge
they do
problem.
this."
That is the whole problem because crappy activism didn't like
What
they were part of
What
the
makes you think,
movement.
David?
They
What
were.
makes you think? What makes
Let
you
me talk.
think
Let
that
me talk. I let me talk.
sorry, what? I'll just finish. What makes you think that just because people turn back and they turn back because they use food as an excuse, what makes you think that their minds would be any different if they understood the use and slavery and exploitation? And I'm not against that. I'm just saying, what? Why would you think that that matters? They don't care. They're weak. Carry on.
No, it's not because they are weak. It's because they thought veganism was something else.
No,
And they
no, no.
think, well, maybe I should, maybe I could, maybe I could reduce suffering, you know, like Erling Ed, the favorite phrase of Erling Ed's debates is, oh, veganism is about reducing suffering, reducing suffering. Same with Jamie Logan. She says that she has said that like maybe 200 times already, and it's not. Veganism is not that. So they go hunting or whatever, or they purchase, or they have hens in the backyard, and it's all the same. And I have seen that for maybe almost 20 years. So you know, I have seen the problem, and you haven't even grasped how problematic it is that people who were for years pretending that they weren't that they were vegan and they were promoted by all these platforms like vegan FTA promotes a lot of plant-based celebrities and all that shit, and they after a few years they go and say, well, in their massive platforms, I'm no longer vegan, you know. That is
Because they're
this
weak.
utility in
Because
your
they're weak.
utilitarian. It's even worse. But the problem
Okay,
is that
okay.
they didn't understand veganism at all. After
Okay,
years
so
of
okay,
being
okay.
within the movement,
Okay. Someone sees a baby calf get stolen from the mother. Someone sees a cow get their neck sliced open. Someone sees a dog getting boiled alive in water. Someone sees a monkey chained up grabbing coconuts out of a tree. Just because
yeah,
they don't understand veganism,
and
just
they
because
go
they
to
don't
the
understand
farm,
veganism, they've
so they
still
go to the
seen they've
farm
still
where they
seen
don't see
cruelty
any
and they've
cruelty.
still seen violence. So what does it
So they
matter? What
purchase, so they get a cow And if they have enough money, like these celebrities, they have a cow there,
If that's
and
not
they,
going to change
and
them,
they take,
if
and
what
they
they've
take the
seen is
milk
not going to
from
change
the
them,
cow because they are wealthy
why
and they
would
have all
understanding veganism
the
change them? Just because they understand veganism, it doesn't mean they're going to change. I don't get it, mate. Listen, I'll end it there because we have had a decent chat. Like I've said before, you're politically correct, you're philosophically correct, but the strategy behind this is just non-existent.
No, the strategy that you use creates more explant-based welfarists.
No, no, not according to my list of 20 people who messaged me earlier and told me why they went vegan, what they
That's
do
an
now.
unpopular
Every single
policy.
person is an
That's an
activist.
unpopular policy. Yeah, a lot of people
Call
can
it
be
what you want.
wrong.
Call it what you want, man. People turn because of that, and that is
It's
factual.
a policy. If
You
it's
did,
a
you
policy,
did,
it doesn't
you
follow.
entered the world. You entered this world through slaughterhouse footage. I entered the world. So did everyone else. That is not to say that what you're saying isn't true. I just won't use that as a strategy. I'll carry on. I'll carry on doing what I do. Other people are getting messages, especially
Listen,
Cliff, doing
uh,
wonders.
Cliff
Using
Grant,
these methods.
Talking
That
about
is that.
abuse. Cliff Grant talking about animal abuse is not
Fantastic.
spreading veganism at all. No,
Fantastic. Changes loads of
no,
minds. Well done, Cliff. Well done,
no.
Cliff.
It's a fucking crappy form of
Hand,
activism.
hands in the chat for Cliff.
Have, have an hour talking about, well, that is not abuse. No, that is abuse. No, that is not abuse. Blah, blah, blah. No, that is crappy activism. That is not vegan.
It's
And
better. It's better than just keep repeating the same old rubbish, though, isn't
it's the
it?
same
David, thank
thing.
you very much, man. It's been good. I do appreciate that we've kept it on a nice level and we haven't shouted at each other. I do appreciate that. Big up, Cliff. Yeah, I don't agree. No one is listening to the vegan police. No one is taking it on board. It's quite clear now that it's just like kind of I know more than you kind of attitude. It's just, oh, this is not right, this is right. I've been in the movement longer than you. You're making money, I'm not, blah, blah, blah. All that business, man. It's just, there's a lot of bitterness, there's a lot of jealousy. I do appreciate your
No,
talk,
no,
though, mate. And
I don't have a problem with people making money.
more money
With,
to the people, man. Give them more
with,
money. Give the
with,
people more money.
with the right message. But people making money by misrepresenting veganism, that is when I have a problem.
Well, the more money, the more people will get informed and the more people will change and the quicker we will
No.
see.
The more money, the more people will get misinformed. And the welfarist crap will keep exploitation going on.
Well,
Which,
apparently veganism is on the rise according to the stats and stuff, so it must be working. Anyway, thanks a lot.
yeah,
Thank you to everyone.
plant-based
Hey,
people who
David,
identify as vegan for a while. Yeah.
I,
Okay.
I don't mean this in a disrespectful way, but can you please just repeat the three main welfarists and whether you think they'd be best out of the space or whether they've done good things?
All of
Because
them. All of them. Jamie Logan should be not saying that she's a vegan. Jamie Logan or lifting welfare's logic or carnism debunked, talking about calling predators. That is not veganism at all. He hasn't understood veganism.
Tash,
If he
Tash,
if he
best off
calls
staying at home. Tash,
if,
best off staying at home.
if he calls for people to shoot lions, Gary Yurovsky should be out of this fucking movement. Gary Yurovsky should not be heard, not because he's not an intersectional. That is the only thing that good that he has, but because he tells people that we should shoot lions because they are eating zebras, which
Listen,
means
man,
that
I
we
can't
should
speak. I
shoot
can't speak for him. I can't
seals,
speak for him.
dolphins, whales, foxes, and now he's going to maybe he's going to join the hunters, and the hunt saboteurs are going to be against Gary Yurovsky now. Who knows?
Okay, so David, thank you. George has said shill. I've heard this a few times, man. They reckon the vegan police are paid disruptors of the movement. This is how bad it is. This is what people think. It's like this cannot be serious.
What
Like,
disruptors
are
of
you a shill?
utilitarianism, which is not veganism. That is what we are. Yeah.
What is your response to people thinking that you're a shill?
Yeah, well, if I was a shield, maybe I would be in Croatia like David Rams. I'm moving to Croatia. Maybe please donate because things are coming. Huge things are coming. Yeah, maybe I wouldn't be in fucking Bogota. because it's not the best city in the world. I'll tell you that. And
Become a welfarist and start changing minds, man.
I, I would
Thank you,
be in
David.
Luxembourg. I would be in Luxembourg, like all these welfarists who talk about animal rights in Luxembourg in the conventions every single year. Animal rights, and they talk about humans and the environment and all that crap. You know, if I was a shill like this carnism debunk idiot says, I would I would have a better guitar than what I have right now. To be honest, I wouldn't have a $400 guitar if I was a shield of the carnist industry. So don't believe that gossip by the Charlie Kirk's, Charlie Kirk's simp, the simp of Charlie Kirk called George Martin, which which misinforms all the time about veganism, and also talks about politics in his vegan platform, which makes him an intersectional. So he's not even anti-intersectional. He speaks about politics, human politics, in his vegan platform. So vegan platform. Well, anyway, yeah, it
Right,
was a pleasure.
let's wrap it up, mate. Yeah, look,
Yeah.
man, veganism is not hard. It's not hard to grasp. We just need to leave animals alone. We need to keep showing people the violence and the cruelty as it's proven to get people into the movement. Keep repeating the same stuff about use and exploitation doesn't really do much good, as we all know. No one's gonna listen anymore, I suppose. There's plenty of people block the vegan police. I might too, so I'm not wasting any more time on it. David, thank you,
Why
man.
do you want to block the vegan stance? That is the problem.
Because we care about
You are a
outcomes and
Westerner.
not words.
That's
We
why
care
I
about
said
outcomes and not
you're an
words.
anti-vegan. You're an anti-vegan, and you pretend
I'm
to
an
be vegan.
anti-vegan. I am
Block
anti-vegan.
anyone who tells you that that is not the vegan stance, because that what you're promoting is utilitarianism, and the utilitarianism that Sanders proposes entails using animals in activities like bestiality and things like that. Because if they care only about suffering, there are instances in which humans can take advantage of animals by using them without suffering, which
When
is
one
not
person,
so. No,
when
don't
one
block,
person,
don't block, don't be irresponsible. Don't block people who talk about veganism. Don't
when
block
one
them.
when one single person on
Don't be
this planet,
dishonest. Don't
when
be
when
dishonest
what
and irresponsible.
when one single
Don't
person
block
on this
people
planet tells me that they turned vegan because they heard the vegan police talk about use and exploitation, when one
because they
person
think
says it, then I'll
because
unblock
they
you.
think eating
Then we'll
plants
unblock
is
you.
being vegan. Because they think eating plants is being vegan. And
Thank you to everyone. Thank you to Sabby Coops. Thank you to DVE 11 Vegan, George, everyone. I can't name you all. John's here. Thanks a lot, man. David, I appreciate it. One day, we might have another talk. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I appreciate it much, very much, and I'll see you all soon. Thank you.
okay.
Nice one. Cheers, people. Take it easy. God bless. Good night. The test results are in. The vegan
Kick
police
me
are
out
back.
because I don't know how to get out.